Here's a list of what wasn't COVID in 2020. Toto's guitarist Steve Lukather was rudely woken up by his neighbor's gardeners early in the AM blasting leaf blowers. I hate leaf blowers. Dumbest things in the entire world. Gasoline-powered hot air machines. If you want hot air machines, strap a lawyer to your back. Done and dusted. So he decided to fight noise with noise. He grabbed his guitar, set up an amp, and just ripped a solo directly into the windows of his nearby neighbors. He ended it with a big old good morning. And you know what? It actually worked. If you've ever checked out David Crosby's Twitter or X feed, you'll know it's like a roller coaster of hilarity and brutal honesty. So in March of 2020, fans started sending him pics of their roll-ups for him to give his 2 cents on. Oh, and he did not hold back. One looked like a snake that swallowed a bowling ball. Another was dubbed crumpled and puny. Of course, he wasn't always dishing out criticism. He called a big J a party waiting to happen and even compared it to a small toy from the Boom Boom Room. When the Doobie Brothers found out that actor Bill Murray was using their song Listen to the Music in an ad for his line of golf shirts without their permission, their lawyers sent a letter displaying a bit of the wise-ass humor that made Murray a star. This is the part where I'm supposed to excoriate you for not complying with some subparagraph that I'm too lazy to look up and threaten you with eternal damnation for doing so, he wrote. But you already earned that with those Garfield movies. Yikes. Shots fired. Murray's counsel responded by saying that he appreciated the lighthearted tone of the letter and referenced several of their hits, but he also argued that the Doobies weren't harmed in the oversight. Now, while Murray's lawyers never said he would pony up, he did offer to send shirts to each of the members of the band. Well, isn't that sweet? YouTuber Funk Turkey decided to have some fun by feeding all the lyrics from AC/DC songs into his fancy AI software. And what happened? The AI devil spit out a whole new track called Great Balls with some seriously funny lyrics. We're talking lines like, "She got great balls and big balls, seems like a bone given the balls," and of course, "a whole lot of woman 'cause I'm a ball." It's 1973. ZZ Top were still flying under the radar when they scored the gig of a lifetime, opening for the Rolling Stones in Hawaii. In their 2020 documentary, That Little Old Band from Texas, they spilled the beans on how they jetted out 2 weeks early, and instead of buckling down and practicing like champs, they essentially turned it into a tropical vacation. When their manager, Bill Ham, caught wind of their reckless spending, he slapped them all with a 2-drink limit. That is, until the guys discovered this mammoth-sized drink called the Chimp in orbit at the bar. It was so huge that you had to place the container on the floor and sip it with a giant straw. For the rest of the trip, that became their go-to drink. Legendary frontman Roger Daltrey of The Who was celebrating his 76th birthday while headlining on the 8th Rock Legends cruise. During his performance, things took a turn when Sebastian Bach stepped in with a big ol' cake for the birthday boy. Daltrey couldn't help but bring up the crazy stunts of their own late drummer Keith Moon, saying cakes and The Who are very dangerous. As Bach began leading the crowd with happy birthday, Daltrey wasted no time and smooshed the cake right into Bach's face. And with a wry smile, Daltrey just quipped, "I did try to warn him." So who hasn't seen this commercial? It's a Geico commercial. A couple moves into a new house and they mention they've got a rat problem. But it's not the rat problem you're thinking of. Instead of rodents, they've got Rat, the legendary rock band cranking out their hit Round and Round in different rooms all around their house. Now, that commercial didn't just get people laughing, it actually put Rat back on the charts. Their 1984 classic, which originally hit number 12 on Billboard's Hot 100, shot up to number 17 on the Rock Digital Songs Sale chart. Stephen Percy, Rat's lead singer, even pointed out something ironic, or maybe even spooky. 1984, the year the song came out, was the year of the rat in the Chinese calendar. 2020, the year the commercial was also the year of the rat in the Chinese calendar. Talk about coming round full circle, or round and round, if you will. Everybody knows and loves Family Guy, so there's this episode where Peter Griffin takes his love for Van Halen to a whole new level. Peter becomes obsessed with Van Halen's 1984 song Panama. He cranks the song up in his car during a drag race, and then boom, he crashes into a tree. While he's in a deep sleep, Peter is suddenly transported back to 1914, right at the grand opening of the Panama Canal. President Woodrow Wilson is there giving his speech. However, instead of the historical address, Wilson starts reciting the lyrics to Panama. During what turned out to be Van Halen's last tour back in 2015, whenever the crowd started tossing around beach balls, lead singer David Lee Roth would make sure they found their way to the stage. And when they did, he'd stomp on them. It quickly became a part of the show. On the final night of the tour at the Hollywood Bowl, something special happened. Wolfgang Van Halen, the band's bassist, shared a story of their tour manager deciding to pull off what he called an avalanche of beach balls. So during their final song, Jump, a ton of beach balls suddenly start flying onto stage. Now, Dave was completely thrown off. Wolfgang said he was short-circuiting, like he just didn't know what to do with all these beach balls coming after him. Of course, the band laughed it off. Looking back, Wolfgang reflected on it and thought, wow, if that really was the last show, what an amazing way to top it off. About 8 years ago, Kiss was doing a promotional show in this tiny little club in London. Now, if you know anything about Kiss, you know they don't hold back, even in a small venue. So, they brought along a few confetti cannons to use during their anthem, Rock and Roll All Night, just like they do in massive arenas. According to Tommy Thayer, their guitarist, halfway through the song, all the confetti starts blasting off, and suddenly the band members are looking at each other like, wait a minute. Something's not right. It turns out those confetti cannons were shooting off CO2 to propel the confetti, and it started pushing all the oxygen out of the room. So there they are, trying to play, but they literally cannot breathe. It got so intense that they had to abandon the stage mid-song and run out into the street just to get some fresh air. Tommy said it was both the funniest and the weirdest thing that has happened to them in a long time.